So, in my lifetime, I've spread love, forgiveness, things like that. I'll give you an example. When my doctor or the hospital mistreats me or lies on my paperwork and totally just completely screws me for life by just twisting things around, I'll give you an example. I called, or I actually know, somebody else called on my behalf because I couldn't get up off the ground. I ended up saying no at first, but then I agreed after they were already dialing the phone. The ambulance came and played with me. The EMTs fucked around. I can't speak when I can't get up. I'm getting shocked half to death. They had me repeat myself 5 frickin' times, even though one of them has the answer and they could pass it to the other person. But no, they want me to fucking suffer some more. So I say it again, and then I'm shaking, seizing on the ground, and I say, okay, now we can. Oh no, now the fourth guy wants to hear it, and then a fifth guy comes up the stairs and wants to hear it. Literally, the most bullshit. You're standing right there. You've heard it once. Now you've heard it once. Now you've heard it once. The first guy's heard it 3 times. The second guy's heard it twice. The third guy's heard it once. And now there's a fourth guy coming up and you want me to repeat again? The same fucking phrases, the same words over again? Meanwhile, I need emergency care right away. Meanwhile, I'm stuck on the ground with no ability to speak properly. And every time you try to have me speak, I shake in my heart and I shake worse and I shake worse and it's harder for me to control my tone. It goes up, down, squeaky, sounds girly, then deep, then I can't control it at all. And I'm on the ground seizing. Then I say, okay, please stop making me talk. Nope. A fourth guy comes up. Oh my God. So, anyways, you got all this crazy shit going on. I'm literally just saying I need to go to the ER. That's it. I need to go to the ER because I can't walk and I'm having trouble speaking. So they literally have me speak for 15 minutes, repeating the same phrases over and over, seeing tears come down my eyes and shaking. Do you think the EMTs reported this properly at the emergency room? You think they, after hearing me describe this 4 times, you think that they put it down on paper exactly how I said it? Of course not. They said I looked drunk or high or something, most likely. Then they said that I seemed unresponsive and couldn't get off the floor. They probably said that my eyes were glassy because I'm crying out and there's tears running down my face. I'm crying in pain as my limbs shock and I can't get up. So who knows what or they say he's crying and hysterical. Even though, literally, if they just got me in the ambulance and only made me say this one time, I cannot get up. I have a pre-existing condition that is shocking my nervous system. I'm in extreme pain. I can't move my limbs properly or my legs. I can't talk very well. When I try to talk, it gets much worse. Can you tell me that again? Is what they tell me. Oh my God. So I say it again. Then there's a second guy. Oh, he has to hear it now too. So I say it again. Now we got 2 guys. The third guy comes up. He needs to hear it too. So I have to say it a third time. Now at this point, I am crying. I'm shaking. I look like a mess. And they're the ones asking me to do this over and over. You think they reported this properly? You think they took in consideration my disability? You think they took in consideration the words coming out of my mouth? No. The first guy literally could have passed on that information, but instead, he literally has me repeat the same phrase over and over until I'm hysterically in pain, shaking on the floor. Then I'd get a breather after that, and then they want me to try to walk. All the time, every time. I don't know if anybody else has ever called an ambulance before, but do they have you walk when you can't get up? Or is that just me? Is it just me who gets fucked with? They even try to get me to go downstairs sometimes. Is it me, or after a seizure where you're bleeding on your face and there's blood on the wall, or after you have a fall, or when there's an emergency call, or if the person seems to be on the ground and can't get up? Is it proper procedure to have him try anyways and fall down 3 times and then scoot on his bum down a flight of stairs because when he tried to stand up, he knew he was going to fall, so he got down on his bum and slid like a child down the stairs? Is that proper procedure? Because that's what I get. I mean, there'll be blood all over the apartment. I'll have a head injury, and this is how they treat me. I don't know if this is common, but when I was in other hospitals, when I had other seizures, when I had other head injuries, I remember just being brought in a gurney, brought down the stairs, brought into the emergency room. They did a head x ray, they ran a couple tests, and then they released me early. Now, that was almost nothing. And I barely could speak then, but they did it at least by protocol. But here in Rochester, New Hampshire, they fuck with me. They make me repeat after I just told them that if I try to speak, I'm going to shake, I'm going to be in extreme pain and become hysterical, crying and falling and seizing, and then it might take 5 minutes before I come conscious again. Is it usually proper procedure to have that guy repeat the same phrase over and over and over and over? Is it proper procedure that need 4 people to come to this event while he's on the ground? I mean, the kid can't even move his arms and legs. Do you need 4 people? Do you need police officers, EMTs? Do you need half the frickin' town? No. I mean, I had a seizure at work, and the police officers grabbed each one of my limbs after dragging me across the floor. My body starts shaking. I'm still awake for it. I lose all ability to feel my limbs, and they just grab onto each one and hang me off the ground. I'm not kidding. One cop on my left leg, and I'm literally just shaking there. And the phrases I'm using are, I love you. Please stop hurting me, officers. I love you. Please stop hurting me, officers. It's all I could put together in words before I went unconscious. Then I ended up going unconscious. I don't know what happened after that. I woke up all bloody from that one, too. I mean, is this proper procedure? When somebody has a seizure, a fall, they're all covered in blood. You got reports of somebody saying he fell. And the more that people have me speak, the more that people fuck with me when I say I need an ambulance and then I'm going in and out of consciousness, the more my body shakes, the more my heart palpitates, the more I can't really speak and I can't make words. I just stop. I'm trying to tell you now. Ambulance. Like that. That's not exact. I can't do it exactly. You would have to be there. But something along that, or and then just silence while the person, and I'm crying in pain trying to get the words out, because when I try to force out the words, they either come out high-pitched, loud, or they don't come out at all, and I get shocked through the system into my legs and arms. And what do you think they do after 40 trips trying to get established, trying to get this written down? Probably hysterical behavior is what they have written down. Maybe crying or glassy-eyed. But here's the important part. There's never any alcohol in my system. There's never any drugs. All they ever find is cannabinoids like CBD, CBDV, CBN, maybe a little bit of THC. But that's all they ever find, and I'm honest with them beforehand. I've never, ever lied to my doctor. But that's the funny part. Even when I was a child, 16, when I took cough medicine and I was brought to the emergency room, yeah, I didn't tell any of the staff. I didn't tell a single one. They brought me to the emergency room. Of course, I told the receptionist, I told the doctor straight up what it was. But then, see, a second time I was brought to the emergency room because they gave me too much medication in general. My drug test came back negative. Nobody believed me. And then they just said it must have been for attention or something. I have no answers for you. You guys are over-medicating me. I've said that for years. I mean, half the people think I'm high at nighttime. I mean, even when I was in the detox and taking my regular prescriptions, they were like, Zach, are you getting high off that Seroquel and Thorazine? I'm like, what do you mean? You guys watch me take my meds and you guys control them very strictly. They go, no, we don't think you're cheeking them or anything. Is those doses of meds together making you super messed up? I said, yes. When I take Seroquel and Thorazine, it knocks me out like a bag of rocks, and then I'm fucked up all morning. But this was always happening. This happened from age 10. It happened 12. I always told the doctors I feel funny, I feel tired, I feel suicidal, I feel depressed, I feel down, I feel sick to my stomach, I'm vomiting, I'm sick, I got headache, I got migraines, I'm being brought to the emergency room, I got headaches, I can't feel my body, I'm bumping in the stuff, I can't do it, I can't move my body properly, I have no coordination. people are lying about me. People are manipulating the truth. People are not giving me proper health care. I think these meds are giving me side effects. All these things were said over and over and over and over from age 5 all the way up to my 20s. But nobody ever seems to give a fuck. They want to twist and make up stories. I am on the ground seizing. It takes them an hour to arrive when they actually, first it takes like 30 minutes to get anybody to call for help. Literally, I'm in and out of consciousness, shaking, or I can't get up off the ground for 15, 30 minutes before I realize I need help, and nobody gets me help that's around me. But after I scream at them, please call 911, I can't get up. Yeah, I should. Sometimes if I'm out in public, they do right away, though. See, strangers, they know what to do. Strangers treat me respectful. If they see me all bleeding, my head squirting blood, me all cut up, I'm unconscious, and my head's bashing against the cement, they know to call right away. My roommate? No, it could go back 2 days by. My family? Hell no. They'll put me in somebody else's care into the woods. They don't give a fuck where I'm living, if I'm live or dead. They don't care one bit. They didn't care when I was in New Mexico. They didn't care when I was in Westford. They didn't care at any time what my health or where I'm at. They don't care. When I was in New Mexico, I was left diseased too. It's not the first time I've been left by myself to have a seizure or get injured. But there's also people around me that I help, and they don't get me help. Like, for instance, I got my father out of trouble. He messed around with Social Security, and he was going to have to be in a lot of trouble for it. And I refused to sign the paperwork. He made a deal with me and then went back on that too. But I ended up forgiving him for that anyways. First, I forgave him for stealing, getting me thrown out of my housing, getting me, I was supposed to be learning a lot of skills through this program, but instead, because my father's lies, they had me in the wrong side of the program. On top of that, my Social Security literally was all messed up, so now I can't receive it. He got forgiveness from me. And still to this day, he got forgiveness from me. Just a couple years ago, I invited him to a cookout, and I tried to go sit and look at the beach so that way we could have a discussion. But their attitude is always so uptight and judgmental, and they don't want to discuss what was done to me or their parts of responsibility until as soon as it gets close to my family, they just don't want to deal with it. Oh, wait a minute. This is something to do with us? We might have to do something? Oh, no. Oh, we made big mistakes and we might have to fix them? Oh, no, we don't want any part of that. If you need money or like $300, then we'll give it to you and you can get lost. If you want drug treatment, we'll throw you in there or something like that. But if we have to deal with an actual physical illness that you've had for 25 years that we neglected to take care of and made worse, oh, no, they're not touching that with a 10-foot pole. No, my father never was good at taking responsibility for his actions. I mean, come on. He blamed a 7-year-old for moving to Texas. It's very obvious this isn't going to work. So now what do I have to do? I have to suffer some more. I got to shake. I got to have more EMTs fuck with me. I got to have more false reporting. I got to have more twisted things that will just fuck with my head. I'm not even kidding. These lies and manipulations are so hard to deal with. Having a landlord lie and try to blame stuff on you, having your family, like your mother and father, blatantly lie and try to blame stuff, and you know it's a blatant lie because you were there. Like, for instance, I won a swimming medal. I went in the pool, and when I came out, I got a medal. They put ZG on it. But my mother and father would say I stole that medal. I was trying to punish my mother, or I had some attachment disorder, so I was running around putting G on everything on my medal, on somebody else's medal that I must have stolen, and there must be an African American's medal, my mother said. This is the truth, according to my mother. My mother says it must be an African American's medal. It must be I'm running around putting my name on stuff, so I have attachment disorder. And on top of that, it's not my medal. I'm a thief and a liar. And that's my mother's truth. Now, I was there. I went into the pool. I remember the 19, 20-year-old giving me the medal. I remember her pulling out the marker and signing it. I was there. So I know that's a fib. I know that's a lie. I know that's a mental illness that my mother is spinning. Just like I know my mother had a problem drinking. How do I know this? How do I know alcohol contributed to my mother's liver failure and killed her? Because I was there. When my mother came back from the hospital for one day, one night, the first thing she did is go straight to the liquor cabinet and start drinking while her liver was failing. She only had 20% of her liver working, and yet she went to the liquor cabinet first thing and went to drink. I wouldn't even be surprised if she was the one that wanted to come home. She used the family excuse. She told all the doctors she wanted to see her family. She wanted to see her family just for one day. She wanted to go home just for one day and come back. She probably told the doctors this, but she really just wanted a drink. She just really wanted a drink. After 30 days with no booze, she really wanted a drink. So as soon as she came in the door, she went straight to the liquor cabinet, poured herself a drink, and ignored her family, ignored what she was doing to her son, drinking booze while yellow, while liver failure in front of me. So I know for a fact that that contributed to her death. But according to other people, no, she had no problem drinking whatsoever. The doctors would have put it down on paper, right? No, her son was locked in a house and he wasn't allowed to see her in the hospital. Not only that, he wasn't allowed to go to anything, nothing to do with her death. Wasn't allowed to hear the will, wasn't allowed to get his inheritance, wasn't allowed to get any rides to any part of her doctors or her meetings. He wasn't allowed to have conversations with the doctors, nothing. He wasn't even allowed to sit by her as she died. None of it. That is why none of the information was passed on. It was up to my father to pass this information on. But I did. Nobody ever wrote down when I said my mother was drinking and she admitted to it in front of the Department of Health and Human Services. She was day drinking and blaming it on her son. That's fucked up to do at the age of 60. You don't have to do that. Just say you had a drink. Nobody gives a fuck. If you want to have a drink, you have a drink. You're a grown adult. If you want to smoke pot, you smoke pot. I never understood this. My brother and sister act like they have to hide their pot smoking, or I shouldn't say sister. My brother, my nephew, and me, well, not me. Well, my brother and my nephew think they need to hide their smoke pot from my father. Fuck that. You're a grown adult. As soon as you turn in your 20s, go and tell him this is what I use. It's safe. It's effective. Sometimes I like a gummy bear at bedtime. So what? If you want to take a CBD or THC gummy that's made from a plant before bedtime instead of drinking booze, that's your choice as an adult. Now, I don't suggest it. I suggest meditating or trying to find a sobriety way. Or if you're in pain like I am, try to find safe, non psychoactive ways to treat yourself. Like, for instance, I could take Ativan to treat myself, but it works too well and it's massively addictive. Plus, doctors would never give it to me unless I begged for years, which makes me look like an addict. So I never, ever, ever even go there. Instead, I use CBDV with triliptal. And as soon as the doctors start taking this seriously, we can try other epilepsy medications, other medications that I'm sure could work. If triliptal works, there's a lot of other medications that could be similar in the same way. But we first have to establish what this pre-existing condition is, what the symptoms are, the numbness. I'm on my thousandth coffee mug I broke. In my lifetime since age 5, I must be at thousands of coffee mugs that have just slipped out of my hands. Not only that, I must be at least 40 phones that have broken and shattered. Some of them never work again. Some of them, the screens are just cracked like out of belief. That's why I go to the store, buy another $50 phone, transfer it over, and then I wait to see if I can get money for a real phone. I'm a really hard worker. I love working. So when I'm not seriously injured and it's not really cold, I'm able to make money through working. But while if I'm injured, if I have an infection, if I have anything putting pressure on the nervous system or my pre-existing conditions, I'm screwed. I can get over the PTSD. I can get over the anxiety. But something wrong with the nervous system is not something you can mentally push away. It's not something a therapist can help you with. If you have epilepsy and having seizures, a therapist isn't going to wish that away for you. No, but taking epilepsy medication might help. This is where I am at. This is what I need. I need physical doctors. I have got over the mental stuff so I can work and be in society and even help other people who have similar struggles. I've also taken lots of classes to help addicts. I actually got a whole 1 year degree that qualifies me to get jobs in that field, to work in the field of addiction. Because I took a whole year of classes, a whole bunch of them, and they give you a degree when you graduate after that. Actually, it's only like 90 days. It's actually only 90 days of classes, but at the end of the year, they give you a certificate. You have to be a year sober. You get a certificate, they hold on to it, and then if you come back and you're still sober, they give it to you. And I did. I had my program grab the certificate because I moved into a sober house called Harmony House that used to be a nunnery in the most dangerous city, New Bedford. It had the highest unsolved murder rate, drugs everywhere. I stayed sober the whole time. I even ended up staying the last 3 weeks with a bunch of junkies and drunks. I didn't know it at the time. It was just a house, and one of my other sober mates told me I could stay there. So I got the room, but somebody was doing something in the kitchen one time. There was lots of beer around, but I was completely sober the whole time. I wanted nothing to do with it. I even checked in with my Harmony House, and they gave me a urine screen to get my belongings, which I passed. And then they looked at me like, "You passed? Oh, well, here." I'm like, "Yeah, I passed." Now, if you're wondering why I had to stay there, I was supposed to leave earlier, but people postponed my ride. I was supposed to move to Maine to try to stay with my father once again, what I knew was going to drive my PTSD nuts. I knew he might act like he always acts. And his new wife, she doesn't know me. She didn't know my past. She knows nothing about me. All she knows is what my mother told her, what's complete nonsense. So, she had a couple times she spoke with me, but like for instance, one time there was me, her, and my mother on the beach with a bunch of other people. It got windy and cold, so I asked to leave. They said, "No, we're staying." So I stayed there and got colder and colder, and then I just kept on being on the ground. I had a pail and a shovel, but I wasn't doing anything with it. I just ended up freezing up with the pail and the shovel, maybe at 7, maybe 8, whatever age. So at this point they're cold. People are putting on long sleeve shirts, what I don't have. They're putting on jackets, what I don't have. Everybody's now ready to leave, but I'm stuck on the ground now. So they leave and say, "Get up, leave. We're leaving. Too bad. We're leaving you." So they get almost all the way. They get across the street. What's a four-way on one side and four roads on the other side, like 4 car lengths on one side, 4 on the other. This is like Hampton Beach or Salisbury or one of those real populated tourist towns. It had a very, very, very wide intersection. And then further down, they're already past there's some type of buildings with ice cream stands and all these other little trinket stores and stuff and clothing stores or whatever. So they're already way, way, way far. I'm still stuck. Then my mother gets all fed up on the way, like halfway home, comes back for me, starts screaming at me, takes my arm, rips me up, starts dragging me in the dirt, at which point we get into the sunlight. I try to get moving. I start warming up a little bit. Then the wind hits me. I lock up halfway in the road. She goes, "What's wrong with you? Are you stupid?" And then stuff like that, just getting very angry, starts just pulling me all the way home. We finally get home. I get under a blanket and I'm all better. I put on like a jacket or a sweater and I start feeling a little better. Does anybody, you think, remember that from my point of view? Or do they think that Zach was just being stubborn? Do they think I just wanted to sit on the ground? Maybe I asked to leave earlier and said I was cold. Maybe I really was cold before you guys. Maybe I didn't have a jacket. Maybe I knew my mother wasn't going to care. Maybe I couldn't get up off the dirt. Maybe my nervous system doesn't working. But no, none of them wanted to hear it from me. None of them wanted to ask what was wrong. No, they wanted to go and party some more. They wanted to go out to eat and have some alcoholic drinks. No, they had no concern what was happening to me on that cold, cold beach. No, absolutely not. Now, I was really young. I was somewhere between, I might have been 6 years old. I'm pretty sure this is when we lived in Westford. I'm almost absolutely sure this is from when we lived in Westford, right after the overdose. But do you think my mother tried to look into what was going on, ask me ask me why I couldn't get up, try to have a full hour conversation getting to the bottom of it? No. Just got very mad, very angry mother, trying to get more pills involved, making it into some psychiatric thing when really I'm cold. I asked to leave ahead of time because I started to feel something, and then I got stuck on the ground. Now, I can get moving sometimes with a little bit of help. Sometimes, if I force it, I can get moving too. But sometimes, when I force it, it just becomes one large shake, which jumps me around, and then I go black. And apparently, I have a seizure, according to other people's reports.